Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. Zachary Davidson here. Hope it's all been a wonderful week. Sorry for the absence again, but I am here on Thursday to release the Wednesday video. But it's been that kind of time. So for this week, we're going to be doing another listing review or just telling you of some of my favorite shows from the past. These are childhood shows or the best of Cartoon Network, at least the ones I've watched. These will be 17 shows and or series slash sagas of multiple shows, and I'll be talking about them. I have no clue how long this will be, and so let's just have fun and buckle up. So, the first show overall in the list, we have Codename Kids Next Door. This is a show that came out on Cartoon Network, obviously, in the early 2000s or mid 2000s, ran for a couple of seasons, where if you were a child under 13 years old, you fought for the kids. And then once you turned as a teen, you stopped, and then you started fighting for the villainous group of the teens. I don't remember the actual names of both of them, but overall, it is just a fun, wonderful show where basically kids fight teens, and also sometimes adults as well. Just a fun show, and one that did have a full completed, what I find completed overall show and storyline with number zero. The main core that we follow is numbers 1 through 5, and they're our main group that we follow. And then spoiler, but this has been out for like nearly 20 years. Spoiler alert for the fact that number zero ends up being number one's father. And I believe there's a movie on that or just an extended episode or something like that. But it is a wonderful and glorious, fun show that is very much a kid show. All right, now up second, we have one of my favorite childhood shows, and that is the Teen Titans. Teen Titans is a show that comes from DC, Detective Comics, and their animated universe, or one of their animated universes. Teen Titans mostly forms a collective of sidekicks or other teenage superheroes, and it forms a wonderful story line over the couple of seasons, ultimately climaxing against the Brotherhood. And overall, we start off with Dick Grayson Robin, who everyone pretty much agrees is the strongest animated Robin of all time, Cyborg, Beast Boy, Raven, and Starfire. And we meet other Titans, of course, other sidekicks or teenage superheroes, but pretty much we just mostly are around these couple of Titans. And we see a multitude of different villains like Slade, Trigon, the Brotherhood, Toyman, and many, many more. It is one of my favorite childhood shows, and I have probably watched nearly every episode upwards of 10 times because of how often it aired on Cartoon Network and or Boomerang. Alright, so our third show is My Gym Partner's a Monkey, which only has one season, roughly about 25 or so episodes, and it's where a kid who has the last name of like lion or tiger or something and gets misinterpreted as being an animal and gets transferred over to school full of animals that do in fact talk and stuff. And so his gym partner is a monkey. This is definitely one of the shorter like summaries or reviews of this video because, well, that's all the notable stuff happening for this show that I remember. Again, it's just one season, and it was just a good, okay show. I wish there was kind of more just to see more stuff happen overall. All right, so next up, I believe this is the fifth overall series. We have a collection of series this time. The Ben 10 series. We have Ben 10, then we have Ben 10, the original series. Then we have Alien Force, Ultimate Alien, and Omniverse. The best parts of it are definitely Ultimate Alien and Alien Force, with Alien Force, I believe, being the best part because I believe that's the one against those weird those cyborg or where they travel to a different dimension. And it's big climactic battle or something like that. It's either that or Ultimate Alien, one of the two. I no wait, I think it's I don't know. But overall, it's a fun, wonderful show. Um, the best fight overall from this entire show is Ben versus Gwen after Kevin has gone bad again, in which Ben goes through about 10 different transformations, more transformations than he ever did against Vilgax. There is a rebooted series that came out at some point after Omniverse had ended. I know that. But I am just going over these four because these pretty much collectively ran for about a decade, really, and covered most of my childhood. And so it was a wonderful, fun show of a kid getting the ability to transform into aliens. So if you know, you know. If you haven't, if you don't know, go and watch it. I believe it's on HBO Max somewhere. All right, now on number 6, I believe. Tell me if I'm wrong or whatever. But we have the Secret Saturdays, where I believe these this family who are kind of why am I yawning so much? Who kind of have like a hidden identity of being a secret organization that fights different monsters of like supernatural or just monsters in general. Another show I don't remember too much about. I just remember that I had a fun time watching it. I don't really know anything else about the show. I know it's probably superhero or something like a supernatural Justice League or Midnight Suns, something along those lines is my general thinking path of what I think I remember, but I could be wrong. But overall, that's pretty much the whole shebang, and I don't remember anything else about it. But that's one of my childhood shows that I do in fact remember. All right, now we have show number 7? Question mark. Which is Generator Rex, who is a kid or teen that has some type of robotic kind of backstory to where he transforms into different things, having a crossover time with Ben 10. Um, but again, one of the shows where I remember the core thing about it to a degree, but nothing too else really about it. So, that's Generator Rex. Tell me, for any of these shows that I don't know too much about, just tell me more about them in the comments and where I can watch them for sure. I'm assuming HBO Max because that's where Cartoon Network is primarily. But eventually I'll get to around to rewatching some of these. All right, so now we have at number 8 overall of the shows, just in the order that I got them straight off the web. We have, I believe it's that one, right? Yeah, we have What's New Scooby Doo, the Scooby Doo show that I grew up on, and I still remember slightly a bit about this theme song, and it's a fun and joyful ride. I'm not sure continuity wise whether this is the same as the one where it's Scooby Doo movies animated that came out sometime around the same time, but it's Scooby, it's Shaggy, it's Velma, it's Fred, it's Daphne going on adventures and proving whether or not these things are supernatural or just adults trying to spook people into believing that this is supernatural stuff. They did, in fact, have a crossover with the show Supernatural with Sam and Dean. So now we're getting into the second half of this bit with us reaching pretty much what I consider the official halfway point, as I believe this is 9 out of 17, and this is regular show. We follow Rigby and Mordecai, is it? I'm sorry. Rigby and Mordecai, as they have a job, are somewhat adults, fall in love, watch others fall in love, and have a wonderful, joyful time. I remember the episode where they are in a golf cart and are trying to figure out going in a circle perfectly. Pretty much. Also, there's like the limousine monster truck type of thing as well, which is also insane. But overall, just a wonderful, joyful show, and another wonderful show that came out still about 10 years ago now. Crazy. Now we have Ninjago, which is Spinjutsu Master Time, where we have the original Spinjutsu Master recruiting four young boys, all of different elements, to fight evil. And then eventually we get another fifth one that joins the team, and one of their sisters is also on the team, and she eventually gets powers as well. Ninjago, Spinjutsu, if you know, you know, they fight different kinds of evil, snakes, pure evil again, power hungry, greed, wanting more of a certain thing or something like that. There are later seasons that I don't know too much about. I believe up to about season 7 I've watched, I think. I'm not 100% sure. I kind of lost the show after it started to not air on Cartoon Network or something like that. It started to have weird airing stuff and TV rights and all that, and like media rights and stuff. But overall, another wonderful, good show that I believe has ended. Not 100% sure. Now, at our 11th overall show, we have the Total Drama series, specifically the first two. I say that because those are what I think is the best before it kind of just goes downhill, straight up and fall. This is where we just see a bunch of teenage kids where they're at the wills of a host and a chef, or well, the host's assistant, and they just go through a lot of different adventures. Whether they are ethical or not is not really that much, not really anyone's business at all. But it's a fun and enjoyable show. Definitely great for animation. Definitely not really that much legal stuff overall. But a wonderful and great show, and I loved it as a kid whenever I was growing up in a middle and high school, something like that. All right, now in number 12 overall in the list, we have Johnny Test, a white, spiky-haired, yellow as what a white kid, a white young boy with yellow, spiky hair, two twin smart redhead sisters, and a talking dog that some people know, but his parents sometimes know, sometimes do not. And where his sisters are constantly doing experiments, and he's either a witting or unwitting participant in them. And either he is convincing them or they are convincing him to participate in them. And that's pretty much the whole show with multiple different plot lines. One of my favorites is definitely whenever they go into the video game and battle and stuff like that. And also whenever just about everyone becomes a superhero. Those are probably my two favorite episodes or arcs of multiple episodes of the whole show. And it's a wonderful, good show. I might rewatch it someday. Who knows? All right, coming in at number 12 overall. I believe last was 11 or 12, but this is definitely number 12. And this is Max Steel, who gets the ability through some means or whatever to transform into different things or monsters into about three or four different forms. And I believe this is the one where you have to fight the elementals as well. Not gonna be dead honest. This is one of the handful of shows of these 17 that I don't know much about at all, but I do remember having a wonderful and joyful, fun time watching them whenever I was a kid. So now as we go through numbers 13 to 17, unironically, even though I randomly organized this list and pretty much organized it as close to release order from what released first to all the way down, well, these are probably in no particular order though. Probably the top five of the whole list. And this, and it's all in constant debate about what is what in the top five of this. But this is Bakugan, the original show, not the new Battle Planet or whatever came out in like the late 2010s, but the original show of Bakugan Battle Brawlers, New Destroyer, Gandalian Invaders, and Codename Surge. I've watched the premiere episode, as in first episode of New Destroyer, over 50 times, and I've watched the entire show in its entirety at least 5 times. Easily one of my favorite shows of all time, from whenever I was a kid to still now. Um, and it's a wonderful and joyful time. Kids play with balls that turn into monsters or creatures of any kind, whether they're a living being or robots, and not really living at all. This is definitely one of my favorites. I would say Nuva Vestroya and Gandalian Invaders are my favorites, but I do overall still love Metanium Surge, and I love the ending. I would say Battle Brawlers, the first is probably the weakest, which I feel is the biggest compliment for a show that ends up having 4 shows. If your first ends up being your weakest, it's probably a good thing, anyways. Nothing against the first show, but I do think it is the weakest overall. Coming in at the fourth to last, or 14 overall, we have the Beyblade Metal Saga, particularly the ones with Jinga and Pegasus. Metal, it's Metal Fusion, Metal Fury, and something like that. Beyblade Metal and Metal Masters. That's what it is. And also there's Shogun Steel, which even though it's technically the last one, it makes it to where the whole saga as a whole kind of ends on a bad note because it kind of just got canceled and it didn't properly end at all. Metal Fusion, great. Masters, great. Fury, great. Shogun Steel, okay. Why is it just okay? Because everyone from the first 3 shows are gone, except for the side characters, who are now just grown ups mentoring the new generation. So, nothing against Shogun Steel, still a good show. It's just okay in comparison to the rest, and overall, I would consider the Metal Saga to be just the first 3. But overall, canonically speaking, and actually speaking, technically Shogun Steel is involved in it. Don't know how I would rank the actual 3 metal shows, but Shogun Steel is the weakest, and I don't really think that's a good thing to end on a sour note. Alright, so coming in at 15, third to last overall, we have Pokemon, specifically the Sinnoh Adventures. There are about 3 or 4 overall seasons, and this did take up pretty much whenever I started watching Pokemon until all the way to whenever Unova happened. Now, I do think Unova was on Cartoon Network as well, but I think Diamond and Pearl was definitely the best of the Cartoon Network era because Kalos wasn't on Cartoon Network, I believe. I believe it was on Disney Channel for some reason. Something to do with rights. But overall, I think only Sinnoh and Unova of the 2 main region ones that I've watched were the ones that were on Cartoon Network overall. You can fact check me in the comments if you want. I may be wrong. But also, if you haven't heard of Pokemon, it's a $1 billion franchise where you get to capture and train monsters that evolve and change form. That's Pokemon. It's been 30 years since it started. It started in 1996. The anime started in about 97 or so, something like that. Follows Ash Ketchum and Pikachu and their friends. That's Pokemon, one of my favorite shows, and it's a wonderful childhood show. Ash Ketchum's adventures has recently ended. Alright, coming in at 16, second to last overall, we have Dragon Ball Z Kai. Also, I would say probably the Cell Saga and the Boo Saga overall as dimensions for Cartoon Network overall. I believe the Saiyan Saga premiered on Nickelodeon or a different channel altogether. So the Cell Saga and Boo Saga are probably what I would say were on Cartoon Network. Fact check me in the comments below. Again, like Pokemon, this is a show or series or manga that has been going around for about 30 years now, following Goku and his many friends going on different adventures of saving their world, the universe, a world outside of Earth, and many other types of adventures, even the multiverse included. Tournament Power is great, but this Cartoon Network, so this is just Dragon Ball Z Kai. Alright, coming in as the final show of these 17 Cartoon Network shows, we have Tenkai Knights, where they are basically Legos, but different kind of Lego or thing or whatever. Kind of like a small version of mecha anime or mechs overall, kind of. It's kind of hard to explain. But these four kids are suddenly transported or given access, being chosen as four heroes to save another world or dimension. It has two seasons and it's a wonderful and joyful time. They combine into different forms and get different colors or stuff like that. Overall, I don't remember too much, but it's a wonderful and joyful time. But yeah, that's the final show. Right. So those are 17 different shows that I found that have in fact aired at some point or another on Cartoon Network, and this will definitely spawn different series or different other videos. But that's just something I wanted to get out and wanted to talk about overall. So, this is Thursday. This is coming out sometime around 7 p.m. tonight. I hope you all have a wonderful and joyful time watching it. And if you've made it all the way to the end of this video, I thank you all. Like the video, subscribe, hit the notification bell, comment below to correct me or say any other shows that you have watched or what your opinions on these shows are. But without any further ado, I'll get this nice and edited on to you so that y'all can all watch it. Can we get to 20 subscribers as we are at 19, gaining 2 in last week? I will see you all tomorrow with Marvel Netflix shows deep dives in Iron Fist. Goodbye and God bless you all.